viewers, welcome back to Fit the Lit, where we fit literature to its rightful standard. I am your mentor Kanupriya Avasthi, and today we are going to start with yet another piece of poem included in your NCERT class 12th, that is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. So without any further ado, let us begin. So as I said, we are going to start with another piece of poem that is included in your Flamingo, Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. And today we are going to cover a detailed explanation along with the context and the poetic devices that are used in this specific piece of literature. Let us start by reading about the poet as given in your NCERT. So NCERT says that Pablo Neruda, 1904 to 1973, is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basoldo, who was born in the town of Parral in Chile. So this particular poet, Pablo Neruda, he had taken up a pen name. So taking up a pen name in the 20th century was a very common practice. So any writer, any poet or any author who used to feel that they want to represent themselves with a different name, they used to publish their writings with that particular pen name. तो कोई भी एक पेन नेम उठा लेते थे एंड उसी नाम से अपने वर्क्स को पब्लिश करते थे, राइट? So his real name is Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basoldo. He was born in the town of Parral in Chile, that is in South America. Now if you look at his lifetime, you'll realize that it is very difficult actually to miss out the two major political events that he must have witnessed, right? So one is definitely World War I and the other one is World War II. So World War I, 1914 to 1918, and according to some sources 1919, and the other one 1939 to 1945. He must have experienced these two political events, and also his life must have been affected by these two political events. Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images which make them no less beautiful. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. Again, winning the Nobel Prize Literature is not something easy. So if he has won it, he must have immensely contributed to the field of English literature and all the other languages in literature. In this poem, Neruda talks about the necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. So this is the central idea. If you have your textbooks with you, you may just underline these two lines and just write that this is the central idea or the central theme. That in this particular piece of writing, he is going to highlight the necessity of quiet introspection. What is introspection? When you think about your inner feelings, your inner emotions in silence, when you keep quiet and when you think about your feelings, you focus on your understanding of things, your emotions and your feelings towards them, right? In Hindi it is called Atma Chintan or Atma Nirakshan, something like that. My Hindi is not that super fluent. And definitely is talking about mutual understanding among human beings, that we as human beings should be having a sort of empathy for each other, right? We should have empathy for each other. Let us now move forward and try to understand the context. We have already seen that his timeline is this: his lifetime, 1904 to 1973. He was a renowned Chilean poet, diplomat. See, I told you that his life must have been affected by these world wars. Why? Because he was a diplomat. You must have heard that through UPSC you can get selected on the post of IAS officer, IFS officer, IRS or IPS officers. These all class 1 officers are called diplomats or bureaucrats. and a political figure. So he was also interested in politics, and definitely these two world wars must have affected his personal life. Born as Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reyes Busalto in Ferrol, Chile, he adopted the pen name Pablo Neruda. We have already read this particular thing. He published his first poems as a teenager and quickly gained international recognition for works like 20 Love Poems and A Song of Despair, published in the year 1924. In addition to writing, Neruda was deeply involved in politics. He served as a diplomat for Chile, joined the Communist Party, and became an outspoken critic of fascism, imperialism, and social injustice. So, as I said, that he was politically active. He was a politically active person. Why so? Because he worked as a diplomat. So, as a diplomat, when you are working as a bureaucrat, when you are working for the government, it is mandatory that you remain updated with the politics of your country and with the foreign relations especially. So he was deeply active in politics, one thing. Now comes the context, the main context. As a consul in Spain during the Spanish Civil War, Neruda witnessed the brutality of fascism and assassination of his friend, the poet Federico Garcia Lorca. So, as a political person, as a political figure, he has experienced a loss in his personal life. And what is that loss? That he lost his friend, Federico Garcia Lorca. And this made him repent, or this made him regret the consequences of war throughout his life. And in this particular poem also, you'll see that he is constantly speaking against war. Now you know the reason, that why he is constantly speaking against war, against tyranny, against fascism, why he is asking us all to be quiet and to think about the consequences of our actions. This is why. Because he has lost someone really close, his own friend, in the Spanish Civil War. This experience profoundly radicalized him and fueled his lifelong opposition to war and tyranny. So we have seen, because he has witnessed, उन्होंने अपने friend की death देखी, this changed him for his life, and this experience made him to stand and to speak against war at all times. His poetry often celebrates ordinary people, nature, and the interconnectedness of human life. This worldview made peace, not conflict, the natural foundation for human flourishing. So, as per him, it is peace that can make us all flourish. कि शांति के थ्रू ही हम लोग flourish कर सकते हैं as human civilization. If we have to flourish as human civilization, if we have to grow, then it is only possible through peace. And in Keeping Quiet also, we see that he is constantly emphasizing on the central theme, on the main idea of peace, right? In late 1940s, Neruda was persecuted in Chile for criticizing the government and had to flee the country. His own experience with the political repression strengthened his commitment to peace, democracy, and freedom. And in this particular piece, Keeping Quiet also, you will see that he is constantly criticizing the need to create borders. He is criticizing the need to create borders, to create barriers, different kinds of barriers through languages, through countries. Whatever politics that we have, it is only because we as human beings have created our own political borders, isn't it? Geographical borders तो होते ही हैं, but हम लोगों ने create किए political borders, an idea which Pablo Neruda is going to condemn in this particular piece, right? As customary at Fit the Lit, let us start with a starter activity, and today's starter activity is going to be a 60-second silence challenge. All that you need to do is just pause the video for a duration of 1 minute and keep quiet. Just try to analyze your own thoughts. There should be no moving, no talking, nothing. Just observe the things around you and your reaction to those things. Just analyze your thoughts and that's it. So let us share our experiences. Was it very difficult for you to stay quiet or was it easy? I know many of you must have found it really difficult, and so did I. I also found it really difficult to keep quiet. And why is that? Have you ever thought that why are we not able to keep quiet even for a small duration of 1 minute? Why is that? And this is the question that Pablo Neruda is going to answer for all of us. That why have we stopped analyzing our emotions? Why have we stopped talking to our inner self? Why have we stopped completely recognizing our inner self or our inner soul? Let us now dive into the poem and start with the line by line analysis and explanation. So Pablo Neruda writes, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. So at the onset, right at the onset or at the beginning, the poet is asking us to count to 12 and to keep still. So हमसे दो चीजें बोल रहा है. One is to count to 12. Now this 12, what is the significance of 12? Have you ever wondered कि 12 ही क्यों है? ये 11 क्यों नहीं है? ये 10 नहीं है, 9 नहीं है? Why is it 12? It is because he is referring to the clock pattern, the normal wall clock pattern of 12 hour, right? The other thing could be that he is actually referring to the months of the year, the 12 months. And he could also be referring to the 12 zodiac signs that we have according to the calendar. So he's asking all of us to stay quiet. He's asking all of us to stay quiet, and he is just going to count till the number 12. To keep still here basically means to keep quiet. And that is what the title of the poem is, isn't it? Keeping quiet. So he's asking us right at the beginning of the poem to keep quiet. शांत रहने के लिए बोल रहे हैं. For once on the face of this earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. So what does he say? That let us for once on the face of this earth. So he's asking all of us to stay quiet. He's asking all of us to keep still, to stay quiet. And he is saying that let us have this one moment. Let there be just one moment wherein we are not speaking in any language. Because language, although language was invented or it was invented to communicate our feelings, but these days language has started to feel like a barrier, isn't it? To feel like a barrier. Why is that? Because once you change your country, once you change your region, and that to a country like India, once you change your region, the language automatically changes. ऐसा होता है ना that if a person from Punjab goes to a South Indian state, he will not be able to communicate with them. Why is that? Because the language is different. We have so many languages on this earth now that instead of the major purpose of communication, language has started to become a barrier. तो language invent किसने की गई थी? कि हम communicate कर सके, हम लोग बात कर सके, हम लोग एक दूसरे का feeling share कर सके, facts share कर सके. But these days, language has become a barrier because each region, each country, each community, they have their own languages, isn't it? So language is something that divides, according to Pablo Neruda. He says language is dividing us. So that is why let us have this one moment कि एक ऐसा पल हम लोग देखते हैं wherein we are not speaking any language, कि हम कोई भी language में बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are all keeping quiet. Now when we all are keeping quiet, जब हम शांत हैं सारे, तो उसमें तो कोई language का barrier हो ही नहीं सकता. So we will be united in that sense, right? So he says कि let us not speak any language for once. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Now here arms has a dual meaning. Has a dual meaning. उसके दो मतलब हैं. It is actually the poetic device of pun that has been used here. So arms basically refer to the physical part of your body, as in the arms, right? The other The other reference could be the weaponry that we use in war. As I said, that his life was highly influenced by the political events that he experienced in his lifetime. So definitely here arms is a reference to the weapons that we use in war. So he says कि हम लोग सब एक सेकंड के लिए चुप हो जाते हैं एंड लेट अस नॉट मूव आवर आर्म सो मच. हम लोग कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं करेंगे, हम लोग कोई मूवमेंट नहीं करेंगे आर्म्स की, ना ही हम लोग इन आर्म्स की मूवमेंट करेंगे, ना ही हम लोग इन आर्म्स की मूवमेंट करेंगे, यानी कि हम लोग किसी वॉर में इंडल्ज नहीं होंगे, राइट. It would be an exotic moment. See, in these stanzas, he is asking or he is requesting us. He is urging us, not requesting, but urging us to do something. He is asking us to do something. कि कुछ करने के लिए कह रहे हैं. And what is that? कि हमें शांत बैठना है, right? कि हमें शांत बैठना है for 1 second, for a moment, whatsoever. But हमें शांत बैठना है, right? In these 6 lines, he has explained this idea that what he wants of us. Now, in the next few stanzas, he is going to explain that what will be the effect. कि उसका effect क्या होगा अगर हम लोग शांत बैठ गए तो, right? So, what is going to be the effect? What is going to be the effect of the silence, right? So, he says it would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So he says that if we keep quiet for a moment and we just keep still, we do not move that much, we are not moving physically, right? Again, I'm emphasizing that he's asking us not to move physically. Let me just clear the board first. Yes. So in these lines we have seen that he is asking us not to move physically, right? Not to move physically. हमें कहीं पे भी move नहीं करना है. But he has never said that you should stop thinking altogether. Let me again repeat the point. He has asked us to not move physically, but he never asked us to shut down mentally, right? उसने सोचने के लिए मना नहीं किया. He has only asked us to not move physically. कि हमें movement नहीं करनी है, as in हमें walk नहीं करना है, हमें अपने arms ज़्यादा हिलाने नहीं है, हमें movement नहीं करनी है, right? So what is going to be the effect? What is going to be the effect? He says it would be an exotic moment. Exotic means a strange kind of, something new, but strange in a positive sense, that it is going to be interesting as well. Right? Unusual and interesting, right? So he says it is going to be an exotic moment. कि वो जो पल होगा जब हम सारे शांत होंगे, जब हम सारे चुप होंगे, that is going to be an exotic moment. बहुत ही interesting, strangely interesting kind of moment होगा, क्योंकि ऐसे कभी हुआ ही होगा, right? It is going to be something new for all of us. Without rush, without engines. So of course there will be no traffic. When you are living in Delhi and Mumbai, cities like Delhi and Mumbai, अब सोचो वहाँ पे कोई ट्रैफिक ही नहीं है. That is going to be a really good day for all of you. So Pablo Neruda ने यही बोला है कि let us just stay quiet, let us not move that much. So there will be no traffic in that particular moment because all of us are not moving. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. See, he is talking about mutual understanding and unity, isn't it? He is talking about mutual understanding and unity. So he says that when we all keep quiet, there is going to be a very good, a very positive effect. And what is that positive effect? That we will all be united, we will all be together in a sudden strangeness. कि उस exotic moment में हम लोग सब साथ होंगे, we all will be united, right? Strangeness because that moment is going to be exotic, something new, something unusual for all of us. Imagine this kind of moment कि कुछ भी नहीं है street पे, कोई भी नहीं है, and everybody is there at their particular homes, and they all are quietly introspective, right? So definitely this particular moment is going to be really strange. But in this strange moment, we all are going to be united. We all are going to be united. तो हम लोग साथ में होंगे इस moment में. Let us move forward. Let us start with the next stanza. So he says, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Now these lines, literally the literal meaning of these lines is pretty much simple. That he is saying that the community of fishermen will realize the harm that they are doing to the whales or the species of fishes, right? So he says that if we stop for a second, if we stop for one moment, if we keep quiet for one moment, then the fishermen, they जो fisherman community है वो realize करेगी कि what is the harm that they are doing to the fishes or the marine animals in general. And the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Of course, this activity of gathering salt finally ends up hurting the hands of these salt gatherers, right? Whatsoever you do, even if you wear the gloves, doing this particular activity, that is gathering salt over a period of time, definitely affects your skin. The skin is affected, right? तो हाथ में जो भी आपका नॉर्मल स्किन होती है उसकी लेयर हटना स्टार्ट हो जाती है. All these effects are there when you gather salt over a period of time. And why do we do this activity? Because it must be their profession, isn't it? उनका profession होगा वो. They are salt gatherers, so their profession is to gather salt. So the literal meaning is quite simple. He is talking about two communities. One is the fishermen and the other one is the salt gatherers. And he is saying that if you keep quiet, if you keep silent, then the fisherman community will realize the harm that they are doing to the marine animals. And the other community, that is a salt gatherer community, उनको realize होगा कि what harm are they doing to themselves. But if you look at the metaphorical meaning, he is trying to say that if you keep quiet for that one moment, you are going to realize the harm that you are doing. Look at these two lines. The harm that you are doing to your co-species. यही तो कर रहे हैं. The fisherman community is doing harm to their co-species. And what is that co-species? The marine animals, the fishes, right? So he is saying that when you keep quiet for a moment, you are going to realize the harm that you are doing to your co-species on this earth. To your co-species. And now let us look at the next two lines. And then he says that in the name of earning money, we are also hurting ourselves. हम लोग अपने आप को भी तो नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं. We keep doing our professional work 24/7 into 365. Are we giving ourselves time? क्या हम अपने आप को भी टाइम दे पाते हैं, अपनी फैमिली को भी नहीं दे पाते, अपने फ्रेंड्स को नहीं दे पाते. We are not living the life as a human being. We are just doing work for the sake of it. हम लोग यही तो कर रहे हैं. So he says that once you keep quiet, you will realize the harm that you are doing to yourselves. So here you can say that fisherman community is a metaphor for all the human beings, right? And here again the salt gatherer community is again a second metaphor for all the other human beings. हम सबके लिए कि if we keep quiet for a moment, then we are going to realize the harm that we do to ourselves and that we do to our co-species. कि हम अपने co-species को कितना harm पहुंचा रहे हैं, कितना नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं, and हम अपने आप को कितना नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं in the name of earning money, in the name of earning a life standard, isn't it? Let us now try to understand the next stanza. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in shade doing nothing. So he says that the category of people who are responsible for war. Now let us try to analyze this line by line. First of all, try to understand that when he is saying those who is he referring to? Who is he indicating? Those who are responsible or who prepare green wars. Is there any set amount of people who prepare war as such? If you analyze, if you try to analyze deeply, then you will come to the conclusion that yes, the wars are generally fought for political reasons. Either you are defending your own territory or you are trying to acquire another territory, political territory. So who is he referring to when he says those who prepare wars? So is there any set group of people who prepare wars? Yes, you will come to the conclusion he is referring to the politicians, right? Or any person who is responsible or who is having a huge political power with him. Any person who is having that political power, or any person, any group who is leading a particular country, they are responsible for wars, isn't it? In general. So he says that people who prepare war, who prepare green wars. Now what is green wars? Green wars is a phrase that refers to the wars against environment. So there are a lot of wars, or there are a lot of things that we do against the environment, right? हम लोग against the environment करते हैं. For example, हम लोग deforestation करते रहते हैं, and there are many other things that we do against the environment. So all those are categorized as green wars. Then there are wars with gas and wars with fire. Now wars with gas refers to the use of chemical warfare. We had seen this kind of method being used in World War I, right? And again, wars with fire refers to the fire bombing. Again, these two methods were used in World War I and they were very common. कि World War I में ये दोनों practices use की गई थी and these were quite common. So he says कि the politicians who start or who initiate wars, who are responsible for green wars, who are responsible for wars with gases, who are responsible for wars with fire, they will realize that the victory, the triumph that they has is without any survivor, because during the war a lot of people are killed. So he says it is an empty kind of victory, a hollow victory that you have. Why? Because there are no survivors and there are no people who are happy after the result of the war. And this is exactly what happened after World War I and World War II. That although there were sides who won, but clearly the losses were much more than the victory. So he says that even if you win, it is going to be a hollow victory. Why hollow victory? Because it does not have any survivors. कोई जिंदा ही नहीं बचा है. Because people are killed during the war time. So these people will realize that their victory is really hollow, and they will also put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Let me just erase all this. So he says that if you keep quiet for a moment, what is the effect? What will be the effect on these politicians, on this particular group of people who initiates or who begins the wars? What is the effect? That they would also put on clean clothes. Now clean clothes here refers to good thoughts. They will also have some good thoughts, some positive thoughts, and they would also walk about with their brothers. They will realize, उनको भी समझ में आएगा कि ये जो पॉलिटिकल डिविजन हमने बना रखे हैं ये ह्यूमन मेड है, ये मैन मेड है, ये नेचुरल नहीं है. दे विल ऑल्सो रियलाइज कि बाकी सब नेशनल्स भी, बाकी सब कंट्रीमैन भी उनके भाई ही हैं. सो दे विल वॉक अबाउट विद देयर ब्रदर्स. वो अपने भाई के साथ, वो बाकी नेशनल लोगों के साथ, बाकी नेशनैलिटी के लोगों के साथ घूमेंगे या फिर अच्छे से कम्युनिकेट करेंगे. In the shade doing nothing. So they will also realize the importance of humanity, of that humanitarian bond. वो भी अपने shade में they will also try to have that humanitarian bond with all the other nationalities, with all the other people coming from different nationalities, right? And they will also do nothing. So look at this contrast. When you keep quiet, instead of waging a war, instead of planning to wage a war, that is an extreme kind of activity. आप extremely active हो war में, isn't it? You will achieve a state of doing nothing. You will achieve a state of doing nothing. कि आपको इतनी समझ में आ जाएगी कि these wars are futile. इसमें कुछ नहीं रखा है कि हम लोग वॉर लड़े, जान दें एक दूसरे के लिए, एक दूसरे की टेरिटरी के लिए. So they will also realize the futility of war, right? And they will also realize कि all the other nationalities, all the other people coming from different nations, they are also human beings. They are also human beings, and we all have this common. We all have this common bond. And what is that common bond? Humanity. Let us now stop for a while and let me check your understanding. Allow me to gauge your understanding and try to answer this question. What are the effects of keeping quiet according to Pablo Neruda? So we have studied a lot of things that he said. He asked us to keep quiet, and then he went on to enlist a few effects. You need to just comment below. You just need to comment in the comment section that what are the effects that you remember. He has enlisted at least 4 to 5. You need to mention minimum 2 to 3. If you are able to mention 2 to 3, then you are good to go. If not, then you need to rewatch the video, revisit the video and try to again understand what are the effects. Let us see. First of all, it will create an exotic moment of peace. This we had covered, that we will be united in sudden strangeness, right? So the first effect is going to be this. The second effect is going to be self-reflection. So when I said that the fishermen would look at the harm that they are doing to the whales, or the salt gatherers would look at their hurt hands, what does that imply? That they are going to self-reflect. What is the harm that they are doing to their co-species and to themselves, right? Then it reduces war and violence. That we had seen, that people who prepare wars, or the politicians, or the people in power who start their or who initiate a war, they will realize that the war is futile. So of course the reduction will be there in violence. Then helps heal the earth. So when the co-species are not harmed, then of course the earth will be healed. And of course when you are not preparing those green wars, remember कि जब आप green wars नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो वो भी तो है that it is helping heal the earth. Now this point will be covered in the next stanza. This and this. Encourage unity and universal brotherhood. So when I said that people will walk about in shade doing nothing, what is that? A feeling of unity, a faith in humanity, isn't it? So all these 5 pointers are there. If you are able to enlist 2 to 3 of these pointers, you are good to go. But if you are not able to enlist a minimum of 3, then you need to rewatch the video, pause, go back, and then rewatch the video and try to understand the effects. I've clearly enlisted all these effects, all these 5 effects, right? Let us now try to understand the next few lines. So Pablo Neruda writes, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. And this is where the full stop is. So this is where we stop, right? So he says that life that what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Of course, when he says that there should be no movement, you should keep quiet, you should be silent, or there should be no movement, is asking us to be inactive physically. But did he ask us to be inactive mentally? क्या उसने हमें सोचने से मना किया? Has he asked us to be inactive mentally? Has he asked us to stop thinking completely? No. So he says कि what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. क्योंकि मैंने तो सिर्फ क्या बोला है? Physically inactive होने के लिए. कि आपको physically inactive होना है. But mentally तो उसने ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोला कि हमें mentally बिल्कुल inactive हो जाना है, कुछ सोचना ही नहीं है, right? So he says कि it is not total inactivity that I want. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. So he says कि life is what it is about. कि life तो वही है जो जैसी होती है, right? For example, when we are born on this earth, we are here to live our lives, and this is what life is about. Life is about living. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि सब almost death वाली position में पहुँच जाए. No, nothing like that. I want no truck with death. So no truck with, to have no truck with is a phrase that means he is not trying to deal with, he is not trying to deal with, or he is not trying to, he is refusing to be associated with death. So he says कि this total inactive state, when you are physically inactive, should not be associated with death. So he is not dealing with, or he is not asking all of us to die. Right? He is not asking all of us to die. It is just the physical movement that he wants us to stop. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves, of threatening ourselves with death. Now he tries to explain his idea of keeping quiet. He says that if we keep quiet, if we were not so single-minded, what do you mean by single-minded? When you are constantly thinking about only one thing, when you are obsessed about some particular thing and you are continuously chasing that particular thing, that is called single-mindedness. So he says कि मैं ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि we should all die, we should not physically move. ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. He says that if we were not so single-minded, that in that moment when we think, we will not be single-minded about keeping our lives moving. Generally, we all are preoccupied with the idea of career, with the idea of making money, with the idea of matching or attaining a kind of life standard, isn't it? हमारे parents भी हमें यही सिखाते हैं कि पढ़ो, then अच्छा सा एक profession choose करो, earn good money, have a good life, get married, have children, and then perhaps if you have time, then give time to your hobbies, right? Pick up some hobby, devote time to it. But in this rat race, don't you feel that we all are obsessing over earning money, over earning a good life standard, but do we actually feel happy? So he says that when we are not so preoccupied with keeping our lives moving, with earning money, and for once could do nothing. So he says that in that particular moment when we are not doing anything, perhaps the silence of that particular moment will interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves. Here ourselves basically refers to our inner self. Our inner selves. So he says that if we try to keep quiet for a moment, and we in that particular moment we are not preoccupied with the thoughts of our career, with the thoughts of earning money, with the thoughts of having a good profession, then it is possible that we are able to interrupt, we are able to stop the kind of sadness that we have, the kind of grief that we have of never understanding our inner selves. So if I ask you a very simple question, let me just explain it by giving an example. A very small example, but a very relevant one these days. So if I ask you that what do you want to be, or what do you want to do after class 12th, there will be a lot of answers, and you all will have ready-made answers. That some of the students would like to pursue IIT, some of the students would like to pursue the profession of a doctor, the others would like to pursue normal graduation and PhD or something like that. You will all have ready-made answers. Some would also say that we would like to go to abroad, we are aiming for abroad, we are aiming for a good university in abroad. So yes, these answers are valid, these are valid. But have you ever realized that when you are talking about your education, when you are talking about your profession, you have completely forgotten that what is the aim of your life? Ultimately आप क्या करना चाहते हो? What kind of a person you want to be? कभी क्या किसी ने ये चीज़ सोची होगी? क्या इसका आंसर है आपके पास रेडीमेड कि what kind of a person you want to be in your future? वो कभी कोई सोचता ही नहीं है. And that is the most important question that we should be able to answer कि हम बड़े होकर कैसे इंसान बनना चाहते हैं, isn't it? Because we all are human beings and civilization is all about humanity. हमें कोई एक चीज़ अगर डिफ्रेंशिएट करती है एनिमल्स से, दैट इज सिविलाइजेशन, दैट इज ह्यूमैनिटी. सो अगर हमें यही नहीं पता कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन वी आर गोइंग टू बी व्हेन वी ग्रो अप, देन व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ दीज थिंग्स? एजुकेशन का क्या फ़ायदा, प्रोफेशन का क्या फ़ायदा, if you do not even know what kind of a person you are and what kind of a person you want to be in your future. So he says the similar idea is conveyed here कि when we are so preoccupied, when we are so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, about earning money, and if we keep quiet for that one moment, maybe that one moment is going to give us that huge silence, that idea, that moment of introspection, when we try to understand our inner self. हम देखें कि हम लोग एक्चुअल में क्या हैं and what do we want to be in the future, right? And of threatening ourselves with death. Again, ourselves here means the inner self. So we all are so preoccupied with these materialistic things, with all these materialistic concerns, कि हम इतना खो गए हैं इन materialistic concerns में, that we completely forget our real inner self and we completely ignore it. And that is why human beings these days are facing problems like depression. Very relevant form to the contemporary times, wherein we see every third person facing depression. Why is that? Because we never try to understand ourselves. We try to repress our real selves. We try to make it quiet. We try to make it silent. But this is what we need the most. We need to understand ourselves in order to do better in the future, right? So the overall idea is that he says that अगर हम उस मोमेंट में शांत रहेंगे, अगर हमारे पास एक ऐसा पल होगा when we are just quietly introspecting, जब हम शांत होकर अपने बारे में सोच रहे हैं, मे बी उस मोमेंट में हम रियलाइज कर पाएंगे कि हमारा इनर सेल्फ हमसे क्या कहना चाह रहा है और इनर सेल्फ क्या चाहता है एक्चुअली. एंड दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ रीडिफाइनिंग, अ ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग मोमेंट फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस, बिकॉज वी विल ट्राई टू बी वन विद आवर इनर सेल्फ. तो हमारे लिए फिर वो आउटर सेल्फ और इनर सेल्फ अलग नहीं होगा, वो एक ही हो जाएगा. Finally, the last few lines, he says, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So he takes the example of earth and he says that just like we have witnessed in nature, that in winter season, everything seems to be really dead because the trees shed their leaves and there are no flowers to be seen anywhere, and the nature almost seems dead, right? So he says the earth can teach us that when everything seems to be dead, it is actually preparing itself for the spring times, isn't it? This is what the pattern of seasons is, that winter is always followed by spring. We have seen this routine of seasons, this in nature as well, that whenever there is winter, whenever the nature seems to be really dead, whenever the leaves have completely fallen off their branches, the trees have shed their leaves, the nature is preparing itself quietly for the spring season to come. And spring is the most beautiful times, isn't it? When we see all the trees laden with leaves. So पतझड़ के बाद या फिर winters के बाद हमेशा क्या आता है? Spring. So earth can teach us, we can learn this lesson from earth, that whenever we are silent, whenever there is a deadly silence, it is always spring that comes next. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So it is as if the poet, again, it is the refrain. He says, now I will count up to 12. Okay, I will now count up to 12 and you will keep quiet and I will go. So after having enlisted the effects, the benefits of keeping quiet, after enlisting everything, he says that now I am going to just count till 12 and now you can keep quiet and I will go. So it is as if he was working as a catalyst. The science students or the other stream students also must be able to realize that it is as if he is working as a catalyst. कि वो reaction में गया, उसने reaction को fast किया and then he comes out. So he says that now I am just going to count till 12 and now that you have understood the value of keeping quiet, now you need to deeply introspect or you need to analyze. Alright, after having understood the poem, let us start with the poetic devices. Let us try to understand the poetic devices that are used. First of all, it is alliteration. Definitely alliteration has been used. It is the repetition of consonant sound at the beginning of words. For example, sudden strangeness and then we would. This is a wrong example, so do not get confused. It is only these two, right? If you can find any other example from the poem, then you are most welcome to write them and mention them in the comment box. Then we have anaphora. Anaphora is a repetition of a word or a phrase at the beginning of successive lines, right? So we have a lot of lines that start with let's. So he says, let's not speak any language, let's stop for 1 second. All these lines are consecutively placed and the word let's is used to begin the lines. So here anaphora, the poetic device of anaphora is used. Then we have the next pair of poetic devices, that is imagery. Now imagery is the description that helps us visualize the scene as it is. The vivid images that the poet uses to appeal to our 5 senses, right? So when he writes fishermen not harming the whales, or salt gatherers looking at their hurt hands, or soldiers abandoning their war and embracing peace, all these stanzas you can actually visualize the scenes, right? And therefore the poetic device of imagery is used. Symbolism, definitely symbolism is used. For example, here counting to 12 I told you could actually symbolize the clock, the 12-hour clock, right? The zodiac signs or the months of the calendar, right? Then keeping quiet here symbolizes introspection, peace and unity. As I told you that keeping quiet here means physical inactivity, wherein he is asking us to introspect, to be mentally highly active mentally, right? Then earth symbolizes life and continuity, right? Let us move forward. Then we have the next pair of poetic devices, The first one is enjambment. Enjambment is a poetic device where one line, when one sentence is continued from one line to the next without a pause. So there is no punctuation mark here, but this particular line has been continued to the next line. So this is enjambment. Then last one is personification. When you give humanly attributes to non-human things. So when he says the earth can teach us, he is giving humanly attributes to earth, right? As if the earth is a teacher. The earth is treated like a wise teacher from which we can learn. So this brings us to the end of the lesson, where we tried to cover the detailed explanation of the poem Keeping Quiet, included in your class 12th NCERT Flamingo. If you have any doubts, just mention them in the comment box. I'll try to attend and clarify them as early as possible. If you liked the video, like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel Fit the Lit, where we try to fit literature to its rightful standard, and we always try to remain lit.